Welcome to Monthly Review, the monthly feature in which I review the best CDs in the previous month, released of course by male seiyuu artists, bands, and 2D groups. And let's talk a bit about May 2023 because this month was absolutely groovy. In the previous episode I was talking about how May was going to be quite the exciting month in comparison with previous months, and how the pace was going to quicken and the quality was going to rise up in this month. And of course it did, and of course what we got was something that I was not necessarily expecting, because when I listened to most of the music released in May 2023, I noticed one common thread. All the songs were groovy. So there was a lot of emphasis put on the bass lines and on having the songs have a certain bounce to them. And regardless if you were listening to jazz, pop, EDM, or any other music genre in between, you were actually coming across plenty of songs that had that danceable or bouncy vibe to them. Even if you were listening to rock music, for example, Kenichi Suzumura's Roots. And let's start talking about that CD specifically. Kenichi Suzumura is always a treat to listen to. I don't know about you, but I do always look forward to listening to his music. I have basically been following his career since the very start of this website, which is to say the THTFHQ, and the THTFHQ is 13 years this year, so I've been following his career since 2010. Kenichi Suzumura always struck me as a really consistent singer, albeit one that is not or doesn't get the praise he deserves. And as such, I always try to put him on the spotlight whenever I can, because although his music is not, I wouldn't say, groundbreaking, it is so well done and so masterfully approached by Kenichi Suzumura that what you get is usually a set of songs that is really good. I wouldn't say groundbreaking, but to be groundbreaking, someone has to really go outside of the box and do something really crazy, and that has never been something that Kenichi Suzumura does, and that's perfectly fine, because not all artists need to be crazy. And what he does, all the things that he wants to bring to the table, he knows how to deliver those. And then you add the fact that he writes the lyrics to his songs and sometimes even composes them, is something that I fully appreciate. In my opinion, he's a really good solo artist, and he's shown that in Roots. And this time around, Roots was slightly different from anything he has released before, especially Bright, which was his previous release, the full-length album that really arrived as a sleeper hit a couple of years ago. So now, Roots arrives and it brings a really passionate sound, which is not really common in Kenichi Suzumura's repertoire. And what we get in here is a collection of songs that explore mainly rock music, but you do have city pop, you do have emo rock, and it is in those two instances, in my opinion, that is shown the most. And it is with Tokyo, which is a song that is perfect for summer, because it has that dreamy neon lights like soundscape to itself, because it is city pop at its core, and it is city pop really well done. It sounds almost like the song was brought from the 80s to nowadays. And on the other hand, we have Koe, which means voice, is a really long song. It's almost 7 minutes long, and it is a song that is composed or co-composed by Kenichi Suzumura and Showtaro Morikubo, who you may also know as a really awesome solo artist that also performs rock music, is also signed to the same music label, Lantis, and they have been working together for a very long time, especially in 2D music projects such as Uta no Prince-sama. So they have been really close to each other, and they have been working together on and off, and this time around they really collaborated in 2 songs in the CD. Of course, the highlight in their collaboration, and even one of the highlights in the CD, is Koe, and this is a really emotional rock tune, a perfect emo rock tune, and it goes really hard on those emotions, so do look forward to listening to that song if you haven't, and if you have, do share with me what you thought about that song, because for me it's easily one of the best songs in Kenichi Suzumura's repertoire. I'm not one to flock to the songs that were really popular in anime series, although I can recognize that those were really popular, but the quality usually comes from songs that people wouldn't usually pay attention to, and they were created without any constraints in their composition, like music for anime series usually is, at least for the first 1 minute and 45 seconds. And what we get in this song is really, really amazing. And of course, Tokyo is the highlight for me in this CD. I honestly want to listen to it yet again. But then again, I do have a really long backlog to go to and really review all of that, so I will have to leave that for another occasion. But as I was reviewing the CD, I got the opportunity to listen to that song several times, and it is genuinely awesome. So if you do have the time to check Kenichi Suzumura's Roots. That's a passionate album that shows his love for his life, his family, his work, and even everything that is in between. You can really feel those emotions more than ever, and it is really awesome, especially with Kenichi Suzumura's technicality on the vocal end and insane control. So you do have a really good CD in here. If you haven't checked it, it is available for free on streaming platforms worldwide. Then we have Takuya Eguchi's Pizza Sushi Planet Walking, and let me tell you, in the previous episode, if you are refreshed about it, I said that I didn't have high hopes for this CD because Egurand was messy, and I wasn't that big of a fan of that CD, despite a couple of songs that were really, really good. The CD was a bit all over the place. It didn't have definitive direction going on in there, although it may not have been intentional, and I didn't feel like it was that good of a CD. However, things change around completely when you get to Pizza Sushi Planet Walking, and that's because I was not expecting this CD to be as jazzy as it is. This is a good sign, as you can tell by my grin on my, or basically by the grin on my face. It's that this time around Takuya Eguchi seems to have found a sound that works really well with this control on the vocal end. As you may know, Takuya Eguchi is a really good singer, and he has shown that countless times before. He is in plenty of 2D music projects to have shown more than that over the years, and one thing that always impressed me was how good he was shifting from singing to rapping, and how groovy he can be as a rapper. And this time around he showed a little bit of that, although it is not a full-blown rap style of singing or a rap style of performance. He does deliver something akin to that in this song, the title track, of course. And I found it really, really interesting to find such a mature sound coming from Takuya Eguchi that usually doesn't take himself too seriously as a solo artist. And he still doesn't take himself too seriously at times. However, you do have, for the most part, songs that are really, really awesome. And the big highlight in this CD is undoubtedly, for me, the title track, Pizza Sushi Planet Walking, because I found myself listening to it as it is so relaxing. It is the type of song that you would listen to in a lounge, and that you would put playing in the background as you were basically driving by the seashore. It is that type of laid-back tune with a bit of a careless approach to it, but really classy in its presentation. and all the influences of jazz and funk going on in there really created a sound that I do enjoy a whole lot, and ended up being really, really bouncy. Although the song is really down tempo, it's not a fast song by any means, and it's not a song that is necessarily in a mid tempo. It is really down tempo, and you get to listen to everything clearly and cleanly throughout. Because of that, you do not have anything going crazy in the background. You do have in the next song, Life is Sauna, not necessarily in the rest of the CD. Carnival is also a song that struck me because it was a mixture of jazz with samba, which I was not expecting, and especially I was not expecting to listen to Portuguese within that song. So you have Rio de Janeiro mentioned a couple of times within that song, and it was fairly well pronounced, which was really, really awesome to listen to. This, of course, is a geeky detail because you are listening to the song not necessarily to listen to your native language being sung, but in that specific part, he is performing in Portuguese. So it is quite interesting. Although it's only a couple of words, it's really awesome to see or to hear such a thing. So that's a really, really neat single, but I wouldn't deem it the best of May 2023. And that's because Anthos released Fake, and that's easily the best single I've heard this year, I believe so. So far, at least, it is one of the best singles I've heard. I won't say the best of them all. There are many artists that have been releasing really good music. XlamV is a good example from the Versus Ambivalence franchise. Idolish 7, Trigger have also been releasing really good music, and you have as well Yuma Uchida and Mamoru Miano that always release really good music, and so far have been absolute units this year. So I'm going to say that Anthos with Fake managed to raise the bar yet again. If you thought the bar was already really high, well, Anthos arrived to raise it even more. And I do love this a whole lot, because this is a technical group within a technical music genre. They are performing since the very start, or at least at their core, they have chill out music. Chill out music is not necessarily the most entertaining thing that you can have. It is ethereal, it is atmospheric, it is really good at setting the tone for something. But besides that, usually it's not a music genre that happen or in which many things happen. But they have had, since the very start, an approach that is quite interesting to that music genre, and that incorporates a lot of influences from EDM music, and from house, and even tropical within that EDM genre. And they always bring a little bit of everything from other music genres. They have heavy influences of hip-hop in their performances, and even in their instrumentals. And you have, from time to time, a bit of an R&B touch on the vocal end, or even a lyrical approach to the vocals. This time around, Anthos showed something that I was not expecting. For starters, Fake is a really awesome song. It is composed by Lip, a composer that has worked with the group previously in songs that are bloody amazing. And Lip always manages to create atmospheric songs that really set a really awesome tone, but they aren't necessarily chill out songs at their core. They always have a really groovy undertone to them, and of course you will notice that groovy undertone in Fake. However, the highlight in this CD is by far Regret. First off, it is a sort of a romantic song with a really nostalgic vibe to it. I was not expecting that, but then again, Anthos always manages to surprise me. And at the same time, you have some of the very best performances by the group on the vocal end. So this is not a mirage in Mirage, but it is as equally amazing. First off, the chorus is fully performed in unison, which is something that I usually don't like because it sounds lazy and usually overshadows many of the members within a 2D group, regardless of which 2D group it is. But this time around it was really well done, because, first off, you need to have an ethereal, almost longing tone to this song. You are talking about romance, you are talking about something that really didn't go right, you are talking about falling in love, and that sounds almost like dreamlike. And what you get on the vocal end is a really dreamlike performance, and that chorus is a perfect illustration of that. All voices become one, and that voice is longing for someone, and that works really well in this context. That's why I usually say unison makes sense when it makes sense. It's not to be overused or used as a gimmick to make it sound like many things are happening when nothing really interesting is happening in the background. So in this case, the unison was well used because it makes sense within this song, within these lyrics, and with this instrumental. And what you get is a chorus fully performed in falsetto, which is crazy given that you are listening to a group that usually has 2 rappers, and out of all the group, within all members, there are 3 members that aren't necessarily really good when it comes to high notes, either because they do not have that vocal range or because they do lack the technique to actually be really strong in those. And yet again, I was surprised, because not only you have Kentito, Shunichi Toki, Shun Horie, and Toshiki Masuda really blasting on the vocal end as the basically core singing members, but you also have Wataru Komada doing something that I was not expecting. And I will go with this because as I was listening to that specific part within this song, I was sure it was Wataru Komada, but then again, when he was wrapping up, or when that part is wrapping up, there's a little bit of cadence that usually Seiichiro Yamashita also has. So I will be saying Wataru Komada, but do correct me if I'm wrong. If that part is actually performed by Seiichiro Yamashita, well, then it is him. But I'm pretty sure it is Wataru Komada performing that long, beautiful falsetto in the outro. I was blown away by that, because Wataru Komada has never really struck me as a really good singer. He's, of course, to be able to perform for 2D groups, you need to be a robust singer in any capacity. And nowadays, male seiyuu are more than ever good singers. So that is a given. However, what Wataru Komada has shown up until now in 2D groups wasn't necessarily something that would make me instantly say that he's really a good singer, so he should be in a 2D music project. No, I usually tend to say that he's really good as a role singer within a group. What do I mean as a role singer? He's really good to support a group and to provide it with a really robust core to shine. And he does so in Legenders, for example. And he's also a really good rapper, although he doesn't rap in here, but he has shown before with Mad Trigger Crew in the Hypnosis Mic franchise that he is a really good rapper. But I've never really said or acknowledged that he's a really good singer, because he hadn't shown that before. And that's why I love to listen to the music in Hanadol or in the Hanadol franchise, is that all the singers within this project, both in Anthos and Lolodi, they always bring something new to the table. And when you think that there are no surprises left, there's always a surprise left, and they will overcome themselves with each song that they release. And this time around, it was Wataru Komada that impressed me a whole lot. This is unreal what he did on the vocal end in there. It is a song that is insanely tricky, especially in the chorus. You have all members performing falsetto. Once again, Daiki Hamano is a bass, and he is performing in falsetto, or at least doing his best to support the group, because he is basically the heart of the group with his bassy vocals, but also contributing with that falsetto. And of course, it is unreal, the teamwork between Shunichi Toki and Shu Horie. They are basically raising and raising and raising the tone, making it insanely hard to pull off this performance if you want to actually try it on karaoke, for example. I did found this song to be quite amazing, and it's still in my mind, and as it is in my mind, this is of course for me the best song released in May 2023, hands down. So well, I do recommend you to listening to Anthos' Regret. Of course, this song is part of Fake, the most recent CD in the Think of Me CD series in the Hanadol franchise. I do fully recommend you to check it. This is not as dark as previous releases of them, but then again the group has been growing, maturing along the way. You do have really awesome music in here. Of course, you do have that longing and that passion and that almost forlorn vibe going on in Regret, but this song is absolutely amazing, both on the vocal end as well as on the instrumental, and you could put the song playing in the background and you will be chilling out to it because it is a genuinely relaxing song, contrary to Fake that has a really wide soundscape and sounds really, really dreamy. This time around, Regret is much closer to you, the listener, and everything is happening really almost on top of you. It is a different vibe from the title track or the leading track in this CD, and it is something that I fully recommend you to check it and enjoy, because this is, for me, the best release in May 2023. And that's all for my picks of the best CDs released in May 2023. Now it's time to check your picks of the best CDs released in May 2023, and this time around we have the participation of Unwelcome. So welcome again to the episode, and let's check what you said about the best CD released this month. XlamV's This Is My Way. How can I explain my impressions? The song has different phases where you can't predict where it is going. In the first instance, it sounds as a kind of ballad, but then it breaks into a tropical vibe. Quite interesting, however, until the end the song is still developing, being a bit like EDM and a little lyrical in the chorus. Certainly a fresh release that contrasts with From Me, because here everyone had their spotlight in comparison to the previous song. I like Kawanishi's voice and Ayuma's rap was enjoyable. Interestingly enough, Unwelcome, I feel like this song was not as even on the vocal end as From Me was. Even if you pay closer attention to, or right from the start as you are listening to this song, you will notice at least that Tasuku Hatanaki is the lead for this song. He is in that intro, he is in the pre-chorus, he leads the chorus, and he is pretty much everywhere, and you can't deny the fact that he is on the spotlight. For example, Shintaro Asanuma and Chiaki Kobayashi are barely audible throughout the song. They have their parts, but they are not as in the spotlight as you would expect or at least want. So I feel like this song in a way didn't have that much of a balance, but in another way I find it interesting that you have a different lead per song. So this time around the song is completely different. It is groovy and atmospheric at the same time. It is still EDM music, so do expect EDM pop in here, but not the cheesy type, which I will continue to say. Versus Ambivalence, the franchise, and XlamV, basically the group, do not do cheesy pop. They do not do that fluffy bubblegum pop that most people usually like into the groups or to the idol groups. Personally, I do not enjoy bubblegum type of pop, so when I find a group with this incisive sound and a really mature approach to it, instead of being happy-go-lucky all the time, I do appreciate it a lot more. And that's a big reason why XlamV is a group that stood out for me. Of course, there are many other reasons, most of those connected to the performances on the vocal end and how the mixing for their music is actually done. But still, XlamV's This Is My Way is a really good song. I do fully recommend you to check it. I was going to, in a way, add it to the monthly choice corner, but since there were other songs that I enjoyed a bit more, I didn't mention it. So you get that song gets the mention here. I did enjoy it a whole lot, but I feel like from me was a better song out of the two. This one has a quirky chorus, and that's because the synths are washing and then going back again, and washing and going back again. So you do have that sense that the synth doesn't end, the synth line doesn't end, and the vocals are pushing for it. It is really awesome. It is a chorus that doesn't have many things happening in there, but the things that are happening in there do make sense within that song. And of course the fast, technical and incisive rapping by Ayumu Murase and Makoto Furukawa was quite amazing. They were in the background doing everything when it came to the rapping, and it is crazy, especially Ayumu Murase, because he is rapping in a higher key than usual. So if you are used to him rapping for Bay in the Paradox Live franchise, in which he has a rougher tone, in this performance, this is not what you will get. You get a higher toned rapping style in a really fast tempo and really clean and incisive throughout. Same thing with Makoto Furukawa, that is also rapping, but rapping also in a higher key than usual for him. I did find this song to be quite entertaining, and I do look forward to what the group has to offer next. So far they have been showing different sides to the group, which is a good thing, and it makes me excited for the album that they are going to release, or their EP, XlamV. So I'm really looking forward to that, and of course I'm looking forward to the third single that may be released this month, which is to say June 2023. So thank you very much for your participation and welcome, and let's go to the next part. Welcome to Monthly Choice, the corner in which I suggest songs for you to listen, because those basically don't leave my head, refuse to do so, and honestly I do not want them to leave my head. I just want to share the fun with you. So this month I bring you a couple of songs that are really awesome. Firstly, Unannounced was Yuma Uchida's One Love One, and this is the very first single out of a series of digital singles that will be released from here on to celebrate Yuma Uchida's 5th anniversary as a solo artist. And what an anniversary this is, because One Love One is one of the grooviest new disco style of songs that I've heard, or that I've ever heard from a male seiyuu artist. And of course, new disco is not a music genre that many male seiyuu artists have embraced. Only Mamoru Miyano did that once with Question, and at the same time Myuirino did that with Cheers. The whole mini album is all about new disco. But this time around we have new disco by Yuma Uchida, and what a treat this one is. The song is so groovy, so funky, so chill at the same time. And you can really feel the love, you can really feel the excitement, and you can really get that sense of going on a journey and being really excited about it and wanting to do the best, want to leave a mark, want to become a legend, like he says in the lyrics. And you can feel that excitement in there. It feels almost as you are basically going to the start of his career. And in a way, as Yuma Uchida mentioned, this song was made to reflect that excitement, that initial excitement that comes with making a solo debut and wanting to leave a mark. And you do get that in this song, for sure. This is a song that I listened way too many times. Basically, after reviewing it, I spent almost the whole day listening to it, because this is the perfect summer song for me right now. It is a song that really is getting me pumped up for the summer, and it has really, really good vibes. And at the same time, I do enjoy a really well done funky guitar riff in the middle of such a bouncy, punchy bass line. And of course, what better way to add those sprinkles of R&B on top with Yuma Uchida's singing. And this is absolutely masterful. If this is the first entry in a digital single series, and all others, usually that's what you would expect, would be even better than this one, I'm really excited for what he has to offer next. So this is me really with a big grin on my face saying that I'm quite excited about what he has to offer next. And of course, One Love One is a song that you should listen to if you have the time to, and really add it to your summer playlist, because this is going to be an awesome summer banger for you. When it is Yuma Uchida singing, and especially if you are familiar with his singing style and his music, you will know that he usually performs R&B pop, and R&B pop is the best kind of pop, at least for me, as it is incredibly melodic, really groovy and stylish without being overbearing. So you do always have to look forward to Yuma Uchida's music, because he always brings the best to you on the vocal end and also on the music end. So that's my first pick. My second pick is Idolish7's Ayana Spinel. So this is yet another digital single. This month was really prolific in digital singles. Actually, if we look to the rest of the year so far, 2023 has been unusually packed with digital singles, which is not something that you would expect coming from the music industry in Japan, and especially from 2D music projects. But still, this is something that has been happening quite a lot. And at the same time, male seiyuu solo artists have also jumped on the trend and have been releasing these digital singles as of late. This time around, Idolish7 released Ayana Spinel, and Ayana Spinel is another groovy song, albeit when I was checking how much time the song had, it is under 3 minutes, which is a really fast song for a group that has 7 members. So everyone is singing not as much as you would expect, but still, when you listen to this song, you will be amazed, first by how mature the group sounds, second by how technical the vocals are right now. This is something that the group has been improving a whole lot in the last couple of years, and especially in the last year, they have turned or cranked up their technicality a whole lot, and the group is sounding better than ever. Ayana Spinel is a song that many people will check, because this song was featured in an in-game event, and if you are playing the Idolish7 game, you will be aware of this song. I do fully recommend you to check it, because this is not a song that you would find necessarily within Idolish7's repertoire, but at the same time it is a song that is so intrinsically theirs that if they weren't singing and I had only to listen to the instrumental, I would easily pinpoint that song as Idolish7's. It has their whole vibe going on in there. It's not that easy to explain, because it's something that is due to my exposure to their music and my sensibility towards their music and their quirks on the vocal end, and how the compositions are made to fit those quirks. But if you listen to their music enough, you didn't need the lyrics to notice that this instrumental alone is something that is so Idolish7, but at the same time it shows an interesting growth in them going forward. So this is a song that had me with a big smile on my face, because it's not that frequently that Idolish7 go this groovy. They usually have a sort of an EDM, a bit bubblier sound, even if they are now maturing it. But this groovy and this tight and this warm, it's not as common as you would think. And I do fully enjoy it a whole lot. Funky songs with good bass lines are always a treat for me. I do love a really good bass line, and you do have a really good bass line going on in here. So that's another recommendation for you. I finally checked VadLip with King of Vox, and well, you guys were right. VadLip is an amazing group, and one thing that I was not expecting coming from VadLip, well, there were a couple of things that I was not expecting coming from this group. And first off, I did find the group to have a unique dynamic. Kensho Ono and Yuma Uchida performing the chorus, basically so only them performing the chorus, was something that I was not expecting. That blend between both vocals. They have, although they are both tenors, they do have a completely different cadence and tone to them. I find Yuma Uchida's tone to be much warmer than Kensho Ono's, but Kensho Ono has a bit of a twang in his singing tone that makes him sound like he is going higher when he's not necessarily going higher. And that is a really good thing, because that creates a really interesting contrast between both vocals. At the same time, you do have Natsuki Hanae as yet another leading vocal in this group. They have basically VadLip, a trio that leads the way on the vocal end, and Natsuki Hanae adds that shaman style of singing to this performance. I was honestly expecting more high notes going on in here, because then again, I didn't know which was going to be their music style, which is hip-hop. I didn't know which was going to be their music style, so I was expecting the group, given how they sounded on paper, I expected them to be an a cappella sort of group that performed ballads, not necessarily hip-hop. So what I was expecting was a group that performed much higher than they perform in King of VOXXX. So it was interesting to find that there's barely any high notes going on in here. It's all about the groove. What you get in here is an interesting performance. I wanted a bit more of Natsuki Hanae, because he does have that trademark of his, that is to roughen the notes. He basically does to pull those notes, which is not that common, and it's something that, for example, Ken also does. It is something that artists that are a bit show-offy in their performances tend to do, because they are really confident in their performance style. It's almost as if the artist is a bit cocky, that they are so good that they can do that type of riffing, really roughing those notes. And I do love that type of thing, because it's so unusual and it's so stylish that it suits any song really, really well. Of course, if not overdone. At the same time, the big surprise for me was within this group, Takuya. And I'm going to say this because of what I've heard before of Takuya performing with Dramatic Stars, and in the King of Prism franchise, and even with B Project. He's not shown that much quality before. He does show glimpses of that with Dramatic Stars, but still is not performing in a really comfortable tone. Now, in hindsight, that's what I get from there. It wasn't, up until now, he was not performing comfortably. Because, have you listened to Takuya in this performance? It's unreal. I didn't know that he was such a good singer up until now. Not to take of course the merit of him being in several 2D music projects and performing in those, but he always gets to performing as a character that has a really odd singing tone. And up until now, I was under the assumption that was his singing tone through and through. My impressions of his singing and his quality on the vocal end were those from 2D music projects. And up until now, he wasn't doing anything really impressive. But this performance, just a small part within King of VOXXX, and I was already wishing that he continued to perform the song and that no one else would enter. So it goes to show that he has a really good voice, and actually it's not that nasally singing, and he's not that higher toned singing, and he doesn't usually, or doesn't sound like he's straining his voice at all. But up until now, he was doing that for 2D music projects. This goes to show, in a way, this is a tangent to the conversation, it goes to show in a way that when seiyuu performs for a 2D group or a 2D music project, they may not be singing with their full, real quality. They are singing as they were instructed. And sometimes when I'm reviewing music, I am fully aware that, for example, I do enjoy a seiyuu's music outside of 2D music projects, but within 2D music projects I do not enjoy their singing tone, and that's because they are tailoring that singing tone to the instructions that were given to them on how that character specifically has to sing. Sometimes those instructions also say that the singer doesn't have to sing well. they have to sound amateurish, or they have to sound like they are struggling because the character is not necessarily the main vocal within the group, whatever. They have instructions to follow. So when you are listening to 2D music and you are listening to a seiyuu performing as a 2D character, do give that benefit of the doubt, because as we are seeing and listening, for example, in Aopella, many of the singers in here, with some exceptions, usually weren't considered really good singers. You have Tetsuya Kakihara, you have Ryohei Kimura, you even have Takuya that weren't considered necessarily really good singers, even Ryoto Saka. And actually, the work they were doing so far in 2D music projects wasn't necessarily a good reflection of how much quality they have on a vocal end. And in this project, they are really showing how really good they are. And it is a treat to listen and to see that, and I do hope that when you are listening to 2D music, you are fully aware that sometimes, and that's to say most of the times, seiyuu, when they are performing as 2D characters and they sound a bit as if they are straining their voice, they do not know how to sing, or even if they are tone deaf, they sound tone deaf. That's mainly, and I should say, because they have instructions to sing like that. And so you are only doing what they are told. Now, if they have solo careers and they are singing also tone deaf, now, that's a sign that they actually do not know how to sing. But there are very few male seiyuu that are like that. So have that into attention when you are listening to the music. Seiyuu not necessarily are singing in full power. They aren't necessarily singing as themselves, and once again, because they were hired to sing as someone else. In Aopella, I feel like we get to listen and see the full color in some of the singers within this project. Some were already well known as awesome singers, but when you listen to them performing a cappella music without any background stuff distracting you, that's when they shine the most. Of course, another singer that impressed me a whole lot within VadLip is Takuya Masumoto. If you are aware of, Takuya Masumoto is a singer that usually has or is required to sing really low. He does that for VESROCK, he does that for Frame in the Idolmaster Side M franchise. He's also sang really low and really rough, but here he's actually singing in a really sweet, mid-toned, warm baritone voice, and I do enjoy it a whole lot. Of course, he's the baseline for this group, but when he gets the chance to go to the microphone and sing, he also does an amazing job. Also, massive props for Shunsuke Takeuchi, because I have never heard such groovy beatboxing coming from this franchise as a whole. Of course, Shugo Nakamura is doing an amazing job for Fame, but Shunsuke Takeuchi really threw it out of the park with his performance, and I can't genuinely wait to listen to more by VadLip in upcoming releases. So to all of you that suggested me to listen to this CD and to check VadLip's King of Vox, thank you, because that's an awesome suggestion and I really ended up enjoying it a whole lot. The review may drop in the coming weeks, I'm not really sure, so you get the first impressions in here. And that's all for me in this monthly choice corner. Now let's check your suggestions. Well, this time around we have two suggestions, and this is quite interesting in here. Welcome, ML. ML says, may I recommend a cover by Makoto Furukawa of one of the most beautiful ballads I've listened to? ML, you do have my full attention, as you said, Makoto Furukawa and beautiful ballad all in the same sentence. Sore ga anata no shiawase to shitemo from the Actors franchise. It was released back in 2017. It's impressive how good he already was. What's really interesting is how underappreciated Makoto Furukawa has been since he made his... even prior to making his solo debut. He was already singing with Genesis in the Yuma Cast franchise. He was already singing with Soara since I dare to say 2016 because Sawara made their debut in 2015, but the group only had as main singers Yuki Ono and Toshiki Toyonaga, so it may have been since 2016-2017. So it was around that time that Makoto Furukawa started to shine and stand out a bit much. He was already singing as well as part of Cafe Parade in the Idolmaster Idem franchise since almost 2016, I dare say. 2015, 2016? I do not know when that group was introduced to the franchise, but still, it was around that time. So Makoto Furukawa did have a lot of technique and quality back then. It was, I believe, extremely underrated, and he still is extremely underrated. You can see that by his sales as a solo artist, although he is performing some of the best music among male seiyuu artists. For me, he's currently one of the top 5 best singers among male seiyuu, for sure. So you do have that underrated element to his performances and to his singing, but he is such an amazing singer. Now you said a beautiful ballad, and you said the Actors franchise. I do know that the Actors franchise has plenty of quality music going on in there, so I may check it because I've listened and I've reviewed in the Advent Calendar review series that drops every December. I've reviewed songs from the Actors franchise, and I do know that the Actors franchise is full of quality, and there are plenty of songs that go in there that are really, really emotional. That franchise in a way has dragged me for some music, for some songs, not necessarily the franchise as a whole, but because of Gakuto Kajiwara, Subaru Kimura, Takuya Sato, and now Makoto Furukawa. So I'm going to check that ballad, and I may give you feedback in the next episode. So thank you very much for that suggestion, and for those of you that are watching this episode, you have Makoto Furukawa performing Sore ga Anata no Shiawase to Shitemo, which is a song from the Actors franchise. So thank you very much for your suggestion, ML. And then we have a suggestion by Unwelcome. So your suggestion is Incomplete Ruler, a song performed by Riku and Ten, which is to say performed by Kensho Ono and Soma Saito in the Idolish 7 franchise. So, Unwelcome says, recently Incomplete Ruler of the Idolish 7 franchise hit my heart. I love how Saito Soma and Ono Kensho harmonize. The interpretation as their characters can be felt, and the quality behind their voices is mesmerizing. In contrast, I found myself jamming to Do or Die of Buraikan. Here, Junichi Suabe and Ono Kensho slay the song. It's a powerful hip-hop song that can lift your mood. When I renewed my playlist of all the danceable songs, Kitten of Toshiyuki Toyonaga popped up. Honestly, a cultural reset was done. Those delicate high notes and the resonance that vibrates to my soul makes it a song that you must listen to. So you actually have 3 suggestions in here. Incomplete Ruler by Riku and Ten, you have Do or Die by Buraikan, and you have Kitten by Toshiki Toyonaga. Wow, this is a fantastic lineup. I'm not that as big of a fan of Do or Die by Buraikan. I do find it really groovy, but Buraikan is Back is my favorite song of theirs, not necessarily Do or Die. But it is still a really awesome song, and it's so powerful. Incomplete Ruler is a song that I have in my backlog to review. I've heard many things about that song, but I still do not know how that song goes, so I'm still fresh for that review. But I do hope it is a really awesome song. I'm not going to say much because I haven't listened to that song, but as this episode is released, I may have already reviewed it because I'm now on a review streak, now that I finally found some free time to do so. And then you have Kitten as a suggestion. This is a song by Toshiki Toyonaga from Music of the Entertainment, a CD released in 2014. And honestly, Unwelcome to, you actually managed to predict which is going to be the title of one of the upcoming episodes in the Seiyuu Lounge podcast. I'm going to talk about Kitten, I'm going to talk about Music of the Entertainment, and this is a song that I revisited recently because of exactly that. Kitten is such an awesome song. Actually, the whole CD is really awesome. Is really awesome. But Kitten is off the charts. Vocally, it is such a technical song that really, it still to this day, it sounds like a song that not many male seiyuu could pull off at all. It's really good to see a mention of Toshiki Toyonaga, and especially of that amazing album that is Music of the Entertainment. So to see Kitten here mentioned is something that really puts a big smile on my face, because that's an album that has marked me, and most of the songs, especially Kitten, were songs that marked me a whole lot and set a different standard for me about how should a seiyuu artist really sing. That's my threshold of quality. If usually my threshold of quality is Toshiki Toyonaga, and I tend to compare many of the singers or the solo artists among male seiyuu to him, and especially to his performances in Music of the Entertainment, because he hasn't done anything that comes close to this quality ever since. So I tend to compare all male seiyuu artists' performances to those in Music of the Entertainment. So it is really good to see a shout for this CD and a shout for Kitten, which is an amazing song. And if you are watching this episode and want to listen basically to Kitten and everything that there is about Music of the Entertainment by Toshiki Toyonaga, you have that CD available for free on streaming platforms. So do check it out if you can. So thank you very much for your participation. This episode is sponsored by all the Hand That Feeds HQ's patrons on Patreon. A big thank you for the support. And now it's time for Music in the Horizon, that corner in which I talk about the CDs that are going to be released soon, or which is to say, in June 2023. So, June, I was checking what was going to be released in that month, and honestly, we are back to a month in which not many things are happening. So I believe it is going to be a good month for me to dedicate to reviewing more music that I have in my backlog. Still, there are a couple of releases that I'm excited about, and let me check my list. I've got 3 releases in here. First off is Jin Ogasawara's Tokyo Hollywood. It's Jin Ogasawara, and by now I have been following his solo career with a lot of excitement, especially after he did last year with his single or digital single series. So I'm quite excited about this release. Of course, it's Jin Ogasawara. I do not know what he's going to do next, but I anticipate rock music in here, at least one song in the rock genre, to spice things up a little bit. Then we have Roa and Shio with Mikanse Fighter. So Pionix is back, and this time around we get a really interesting matchup in here. So we are going to get an interesting mix between high notes and low notes, and we are going to get a really groovy type of sound going on in here. I do not know what to expect, because Mikanse Fighter gives off those Sentai vibes, so I do not want that to happen in here. So I will go cautiously into this song, but knowing that it is Pionix and I was really craving Pionix music, this is a treat for me. Then we have Tokyo Color Sonic, and of course this is the last release that I'm going to mention, Tokyo Color Sonic with Solo Songs Album Recall. So I hadn't reviewed the solo songs up until now because the album was going to be released. I did review 1 or 2, but nothing beyond that. The album is going to basically compile all the solo songs released so far by all vocals in the Tokyo Color Sonic franchise. Now, with the participation of Yuya Hirose, the new vocal for this franchise, and I'm quite excited first to listening to how Yuya Hirose sounds like in this franchise, because I haven't heard his solo track, and I'm quite excited to revisit some of the songs in here and finally fully review the songs or the solo tracks by all members. And the Tokyo Color Sonic franchise is one that I do fully appreciate and I love a whole lot. It's good to see that it still gets the love and that it has been renewed for a 3rd CD season, which is really, really awesome. Not many of my favorite 2D music projects ever get a second CD series, much less a third CD series. So this is really good to see a franchise like this one with so much quality, and even with its mistakes in the past, growing and improving its sound, improving its quality, and continuing to deliver high quality music, and fans continuing to support it. So I'm quite excited about Tokyo Color Sonic's recall. And of course, these are the 3 CDs that I'm most looking forward to in June 2023. Let's check if you have any of your picks for this month. And we have a CD that ML is looking forward to. Actually, 2 CDs ML is looking forward to. ML says, I can't believe it's been 8 years since Taishi Murata joined his first idol franchise, and I've never listened to him in a solo song. I can't wait for his entry in the Tsuki Pro solo series. And then ML adds, and I don't think this has been confirmed yet, but I guess we can expect XlamV's 3rd digital single in June. Yes, you do have to expect that single in June, because the album is going to drop in July, I believe so. So you need to have that 3rd single to drop this month, and I'm quite excited about it. At the same time, Taishi Murata, well, he's never really got that chance to perform solo, hasn't he? That's weird, but yeah, as you said, 8 years, and so far the only opportunity he's got to perform solo is this one, Koyuta. So this is a song that is part of the Anokoro no Bokura wa My Dear Days CD series, which is a solo series that revisits the sound that the members of each group had when they started, and gives it a different outlook of how they now sound like, and how mature they now are, and what they have learned in this span of 8 years. So it is quite interesting to see and hear solo performances in the Tsuki Pro franchise. At the same time, Taishi Murata is a bit underrated, because I do enjoy his voice a whole lot, and especially, for example, in live performances, is one of the most consistent members within Sowara. So I do fully enjoy his singing and the quality that he brings to the group. And this time around we are going to get a full-on solo performance in here. He's always performed in a certain trio fashion, because Sowara is an odd group, or at least is a group with an odd number of members. So he always ended up performing alongside Chiharu Sawashiro. So yeah, this is the very first time that he's going to perform solo. Wow. But still, quite exciting to listen to that, and I still haven't grabbed or checked any song in the Anokoro no Bokura wa My Dear Days CD series, believe it or not. I want to check those songs all in quick succession, so I'm waiting for that to happen, or at least for those songs to fully drop. But seeing as Tsuki Pro is taking a bit of time to announce the CDs, and they aren't necessarily dropping every month, I may start picking and reviewing those that I already have, and that will include, of course, Taishi Murata's performance as Ren in Koyuta. So I do look forward to that, and that's an awesome single to look forward to. At the same time, XlamV's 3rd digital single will drop for sure in June. We now have to wait until they announce the title and its release date. And next month, maybe you and I are here talking about that same digital single. So thank you very much for participating. Thank you to Unwelcome and ML for leaving your impressions. Welcome to Ask Vanessa. This is the corner in which I answer your questions, or basically talk nonsense about Soma Saito or whatever. This time around, I'm not going to talk too much about Soma Saito. I'm going to make a brief introduction. His video collection DVD or Blu-ray is already out. He's already celebrated his 6th anniversary as a solo artist. He's held a double live show with completely different concepts for each day as well. So I'm now looking forward to waiting until December and see if a full-length album is released. That's my thing. So even if there is no full-length album and we get another EP series, or another EP, I'm already happy. So the lack of new music in 2023 by Soma Saito it's worth waiting for his music, so I will wait. Now, outside of that conversation about Soma Saito, I have been saying since, I believe, March, April, that I'm going to review music by a new franchise, or a franchise that I have never reviewed music from on the website. This franchise is by no means new. It's already been going for a couple of years. But I now decided to jump into it because, well, I feel like many of the seiyuu that I enjoy are in this franchise, which is already a plus. And despite me not enjoying that much the concept itself, the music has been impressing me a whole lot. So I've been reviewing music in the Fabulous Night franchise from Reject, and Reject also has, or always has, a seal of quality when it comes to the music. As crazy as their projects are, as nonsensical their stories are, the thing is, Reject has really good music. And their music projects, or their projects that have music tying up to drama CDs, are usually really, really interesting and really, really good. And I've been diving into the music by, let me check the names of the groups so that I do not say anything wrong, by Neobasara, which is a group led by Toshiki Toyonaga, so it's already good to begin with. And let me check, Twilight, which is a group that has Makoto Furukawa in it. And the two songs that stood out for me the most was Waning Moon, by, I do not know the name of the character, but it is performed by Makoto Furukawa. And let me check the name, TTE till the end, which is performed by Toshiki Toyonaga, and these two songs are easily my favorites of 2023, hands down. This is what R&B music is all about. It is sexy, it is passionate, it is borderline risqué, and I do love when the songs go that route without being dirty. So that's really, really awesome. I do love both songs a whole lot, and I can't wait to share with you my impressions about both CDs. Of course, as I started to review music in this franchise, basically I had to start from the very start. And I had to review the songs in the first CDs, which were performed only by the main host or the leader host in this franchise. So it doesn't have all members performing, so you have the songs only performed by the leader. Not that I'm complaining, because with Neobasara it is Toshiki Toyonaga, but with other groups I do not find the leaders to be as powerful as they should be. But then again, I need to listen to more of this franchise to make a definitive idea about it. But still, so far, as a rookie reviewer of their music, with limited exposure to their music, it's only been a couple of months since I started to check the music in Fabulous Night and work on the reviews. I do love Neobasara and Twilight a whole lot. Also in Himmel, I do like the song Steamy Night by Ryoya, which is a member of Himmel, voiced by Yoshiki Nakajima. This is a dirty song, but still, it is really, really awesome. And I do love when Yoshiki Nakajima performs in that almost sleazy, legato-filled baritone vocal style. I do love it a whole lot. So it is really sexy, that song, and well, I do enjoy it more than I should enjoy it. But yeah, I'm quite excited about Fabulous Night, and I have been reviewing the music in this franchise. I know that some of you have left comments saying that this franchise is amazing and that I should check the music. Well, do not worry, I have been checking the music in this franchise since April. The reviews will drop as soon as I can edit those on the website and publish it to make it available to you. So The reviews are done for some CDs, others are not, so I'm basically reviewing the music at my own pace, because I haven't had that much free time to do so. But still, I'm quite excited about Fabulous Night, and this is the new franchise that I am reviewing music from. I'm not going to dive too deep in other franchise. Perhaps I'm going to check the music in Executioner, because it is visual K-rock, and it is well done visual K-rock, or at least visual K-rock that I enjoy. For example, Magatsu Note also has visual K-rock, but I do not enjoy the music in that franchise. I do not like the instrumentals to begin with, so that's a big reason why I'm not reviewing music in that franchise. Although I do recognize that there are some really cool performances going on in there, but the sound itself is not something that I fully enjoy. So that's a big reason why I'm not reviewing music and spending time with those songs when I have a backlog of almost 60 CDs left to review, and some CDs are from last year. At the same time, I'm going to add something, because not many people have been mentioning these or talking about these. I'm quite excited about Place Your Bets by Makoto Furukawa, which is a CD that is going to drop soon. It's not this month, so we are not going to talk about this CD in this episode, or we didn't talk about this CD in this episode because of that. But I'm really looking forward to Makoto Furukawa's Place Your Bets. I do love a good casino themed CD, and I do love jazz music, and acid jazz fits so well with casino, the casino vibe. And then we have Makoto Furukawa in there, and have you seen those photos? I'm not one to gush about photos of male seiyuu, or seiyuu for that matter, but there are times in which some seiyuu catch me off guard. Well, Makoto Furukawa is doing that with his platinum hair, or his platinumed gray hair. I do not know. But I do love his look right now, and it is fitting so much with the tone of that CD, at least the vibe about the cover art. And well, I look forward to it. I do love his voice a whole lot. He's in my top 3 favorite singers among male seiyuu, so I always look forward to his music more than I should, and I always try to push it a little bit for people to actually take the time and listen to how amazing he is as a singer, and also how cool jazz music can be. So I'm looking forward to that a whole lot. And since I have it has been a couple of days since the cover art was unveiled, and I remember watching seeing those covers, and I was I was mesmerized by it, especially the limited edition cover. And that's really my style of solo artist presentation. I do love a good emo rocker, but that style in specific that Makoto Furukawa is showcasing in that cover is really my thing. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope the CD, especially with Satoru Kuwabara in the composition this time around, not only in the production of the CD, but in the composition, is going to deliver something really crazy, especially with a thunderous bassline. So I do look forward to that CD a whole lot. And I believe this is all from the Ask Vanessa corner. This is all also about the May 2023 haul of CD releases, and we are going to talk soon about the June 2023 releases. So do look forward to that. As always, do participate in the comments here on YouTube, as well as on the forum that is shared in the community tab on this channel, as well as on Twitter and Facebook, in which basically the hand that feeds HQ is present. So make sure to check that forum and participate if you want to talk about CDs that were released in June 2023, or if you are looking forward to something in July 2023, or even if you have questions about music or male seiyuu artists or 2D groups or anything in between. Do send those questions for the Ask Vanessa corner. With that being said, Thank you very much for participating and watching this episode, and I'll see you guys soon.